Hey there, YouTubers! This is Kevin from Survivor Super Fun Time Show, and we got some super fun information that just dropped. A couple days ago, the Survivor 48 cast dropped. This is where we get the bios, we get all the information, we get all the fun and goofy answers to questions that we've been waiting for quite a while from this particular season of Survivor. And really what I'm going to do is I've digested it, I put it in my mouth, I've absorbed it, it's gone through the system, and now we're going to spit out what I think of the information we learned about these castaways, and really just my general vibe and if I think I'm going to like them or not. But before we get into the actual video, make sure to hit the subscribe button so that we can talk about Survivor 48. Obviously, I'm going to be making videos. I'm going to be doing recaps. I'll be doing a Survivor fantasy draft. All the good things that you can expect from an awesome Survivor channel. And I want to do that with you. But getting into it, I thought we would go maybe tribe by tribe and talk about the different people and kind of the general feelings and thoughts that I'm having with some of these castaways that maybe, you feel the same way. And first I want to talk about someone that I have really good feelings about. And it's from the Vula tribe, which is the green tribe. This is Stephanie Berger. I read her bio, and the vibes I'm getting are just really good. It seems like she has kind of a laissez-faire attitude, but at the same time, there's a serious tone to her, which I think does really well in this game. I think, Carolyn Weiger is someone who is disrespected for kind of how she comes off, but at the same time, she's got an incredibly sharp mind. Same thing with Kenzie Petty, obviously, Survivor 46, the winner. See the tattoos, you see her, going around being Miss Social, looks like she's going to have a tray of deviled eggs at a family reunion anytime soon. She just, you don't see it as business owner who's clearly brilliant right away. No, I called her a boat girl, and that's what I thought Kenzie was, but she was so much more than just a boat girl. And I think there's so much more to Stephanie than just being this jingly, jangly, bracelet-wearing, kind of seeming like space cadet kind of lady. I think it just means she's got great personality, and she's going to be a really good social player. And I'm totally counting on that. She's someone that I don't expect to win, but I think she has the potential to. I really like what I'm getting from her, and I did not like everything from the Vula tribe. A lot of blandness on that tribe, admittedly, and I think she's one of the few highlights of that. All right, well, speaking of the blandness that I was referring to on the Vula tribe, the next one up is Justin. I read the bios. I really wasn't into it. I understand that it seems like he was on the path to a traditionally successful life. And I thought, I was like, okay, good path. He seems like a nice guy. I love guys that have long hair. I used to too, until I realized my hair wasn't that great and I cut it. I think that, him becoming like a pizza restaurant manager, worker, whatever it may be, I think that's an interesting story. It's kind of giving me like Pizza Boy vibes of McRae from Big Brother. So that is nice. But I'm getting no killer dog mentality from this guy. I'm getting like the same thing I get from Ben Katzman from 46. I'm getting from Jake from 45. I'm just not getting it. Like maybe Kyle from 47, but he didn't have a killer attitude if it didn't have anything to do with an immunity challenge, basically. So I don't know. I'm not feeling it from Justin. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like someone I will personally love. But strategically, I don't see it from this guy. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Because remember, this is based on almost no information, like zero information. This preview, it's purely vibes. And I'm not getting it from Justin. And speaking of no vibes, Sai is the next one from the Vula tribe. I get literally nothing from Sai. I don't know what to say. I feel like I got very little from the bio, just like the normal, I'm inspired by myself, my family, worked really hard. They're from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which I appreciate because I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I want to root for Sai right away because of that, because, represent, right? But the problem is when I read the bio, I'm like, all right, this is, it's another just generic kind of bio. And I'm wondering if that'll become a generic kind of Survivor player. And if I had to lay money on it, the answer is yes. I don't think it's going to be, a fairy tale ending for Sai, unfortunately. I think Vula is going to be kind of the lame duck tribe in that they're going to be okay, but they're not going to be that interesting. And I have a feeling that Sai's not going to be that interesting on the not interesting tribe. So I'm very fearful that I'm not going to be able to put any kind of investment into her. And that's really unfortunate because, everyone who gets put on Survivor is interesting and has a great story to tell for the most part. And I think maybe that would be the case, but I just don't think it's going to come out on screen. And maybe this isn't the environment for Sai. I don't know. And I could be dead wrong. I could be dead wrong. I'm just not feeling it at all. So unfortunately, Sai from the Vula tribe, I'm out on you until the season premieres and you prove me wrong. But someone I am so in on is Mary Zheng from the Vula tribe. So there's like 3 players from this season that I feel uber confident in. Stephanie was right near that grouping, that elite level, but not quite. However, Mary, after reading her content, reading her bio, and watching her little intro clip, all in on Mary. I think she's going to be wonderful. I love that she is a counselor. I think being a counselor in this game is a huge advantage. I mean, it did really great things for Carolyn Weiger, I think. It did not do that for Hannah Rose in 45, but I have a lot of faith that Mary isn't going to do what Hannah Rose did. Instead, it's going to do closer to what Carolyn did. I mean, there's a great attitude. Was involved like the Peace Corps and really traveling around the world, likes hiking. It's just got a really cool down-to-earth vibe about her. Seems to have that social aspect where she can be a bit of a social butterfly and kind of fit in with a bunch of different groups. I mean, the players that she said she was going to play most like or wants to play most like, it's interesting that she highlighted 2 players that I think couldn't be really more different. First one being Ben from Survivor 35, Heroes, Hustlers, Healers. This is a guy who honestly would have lost the game if he didn't keep winning or getting a bunch of idols. But he did. He ended up winning, and he was well liked up until a certain point where everyone realized he was a big threat. And then you have Kenzie Petty, who Kenzie didn't find anything and she won the game. She really got through because there was always, a bigger fish, and she was always on the good side of people for the most part. So, I mean, I can see those elements in her because I think she's, a killer and a dog like Ben. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are going to want to have a good relationship with Mary. And Mary's going to know when to really attract and pull away from specific people, depending on whether it suits her or not. I can feel it. I can feel the vibe. I think she's going to do well. And for some reason, if she gets booted early, I think I'm going to love her before she completely flames out. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I have to go from someone I'm really excited about to someone I'm not super excited about, which is Cedrek from the Vula tribe. From what I got from his stuff, it's the classic, like, he's a doctor, he's been successful, he's looking out for his family's inspired him, he thinks he can be the best, he thinks he's great at puzzles, he thinks being a doctor makes him better at puzzles. I think he's going to be someone that's probably going to try to take control of the game maybe a little too fast, and it's going to bite him in the butt. That's what I'm getting from Cedrek, but again, based on very little information, it's purely vibes. I don't know. He's one of the elements that makes me less excited about the Vula tribe as a whole. I don't know. I just feel like it's going to go poorly. Like I see Cedrek as Keyshawn from the Lavo tribe in Survivor 47. Like, yeah, are there elements there that mean they can go far in the game, they can win the game, all that stuff? Sure. Do I think that's what's going to happen? No. I think they're going to play themselves. And I don't think they'll be around long enough for me to form any kind of attachment to them. So unfortunately, I have to say I'm gonna give Cedrek a low score. Am I giving scores now? I don't know, but I'm gonna have to give Cedrek a pretty low score in this analysis of the future players. All right, it's about time I talked about this hoe here. This guy, Kevin of the Vula tribe. He's the first Kevin who's ever been on Survivor. I wanted to be the first Kevin to ever be on Survivor, but no, I lost to this hotshot. This guy right here, his whole bio, does he seem like a nice guy? Heck yeah. I hope I meet you one day and we dab it up as Kevins. But unfortunately, what I get from his bio is, he talks about like working at Abercrombie and Fitch back in the day as one of the main preparation pieces for being on Survivor, where he was a greeter/model, where he got to talk about what's going on in the store, jeans and all that bullshit, and saying like, well, it's like when you can charm people while being genuine. Yeah, right. Okay. I think Kevin is going to represent Kevin really well, and I'm really excited about that. I think he seems like he probably will be really affable. I think like he said in his bio, he's looking to try to be another Caleb from Survivor 45, and maybe he can do it. Maybe. I think that the potential's there. He's like a fitness guy, but at the same time, he's also got like his MBA and stuff. So it seems like he does have a lot of tools. He has a lot of tools to win the game, to get very far in the game. I think he'll get very far. I don't think he'll win the game. I think he'll be interesting. Well, I think really the big question is he, a hot idiot or is he a beautiful genius? That's really what we have to figure out because it seems like there's high potential and a very fine line between the two. And I think, unfortunately, he's going to straddle it a little bit. But total guess from my part. He looks like he may be a dog. I'm not sure yet, but he will be one of the more interesting people of the Vula tribe, I think. But now that we've been through, every individual member of the Vula tribe, I mean, I've talked about it a little bit. I do think this is going to be kind of the lame duck tribe in that they're not going to be crazy chaotic. I mean, they'll probably win. They'll probably pooter along. We're probably not going to see as much strategy from them as we would hope. If we're going to use a comparison to a previous season, I'd probably say the equivalent in 46 would probably be the Siga tribe, where you have maybe a character or two, but, expect to see scenes where they're salsing on the beach or something and somebody's saying a bunch of nonsense bullshit Taylor Swift lyrics all the time. Like, it'll probably be on that level. That's what I'm gauging. I think all the fun and madness and circus music is going to be entirely reserved for the purple and the orange tribes. Kind of like 46. Well, I just started talking about it, so I might as well start talking about the orange tribe, Siva. Now, Siva, as a unit, it's going to be interesting. I'll talk about them a little later. But the first person I'm going to discuss is Charity. Charity has a great look about her. She's gorgeous. It looks like she's really tough. I know in her Entertainment Weekly bio, she talks about like she had to be taken out of PE with, the girls and so she could play with the boys because she was just too rough for them for floor hockey, which is interesting. And she's going to be facing off against Eva, who's a hockey player currently. So that'll be a fun discussion if they ever play on the same island. But, also in her bio, she talks about her favorite players or players she'd like to play like. And she chose two very interesting ones that I have to mention. First one, Tony Vlachos. Makes sense. Everybody wishes they could play like Tony to some degree. But the second one is Jane. And I was like, what Jane is she talking about? Jane. Then I thought about it. Jane from Survivor Nicaragua? Jane? The older woman? You wanted to be Jane? Man, I mean, don't get me wrong. She was a badass. She threw out the fire, essentially, as soon as she found out that she was being voted out. She's like, listen, I started it. I'm going to end it. Great attitude. But it does give me a little bit of an indication about Charity, I think, because why Jane? Like, you have to go out of your way to pick someone in that big of a deep cut to represent yourself in your game, especially because it ended so bitterly for Jane. And I think that's a very interesting pick. I mean, Tony and Jane together, I would argue, represents chaos in Survivor. And I'm definitely getting that from Charity. I mean, she said, she did the thing where she was like an obese child and she grew up and she became a flight attendant and she became hot and sexy and all that stuff. So, I think she views life very interestingly because she's seen it from like being treated as an other, and now she's kind of on the in and she's tough and all that kind of stuff. And I think she'd be a really great character. I cannot figure out if she's going to either win the game or she's going to be taken out right away. Can't figure it out. Charity is an interesting one for me. I think I'll like her for the period of time she's on the show. I just can't tell if it's going to be long or short. So best of luck to her. Next up for the Siva tribe. There's only one set of words that comes to mind when I think of this person. Sugar pie, honey bunch. You know that I love you. Mitch, the reason why those words come to me is when I read the bio and when I watched his little intro of Castaways, Mitch seems like a really nice guy. Really awesome dude. He's a PE teacher. Seems like, he's had some hurdles in his life. He's grown up with a stutter. And it seems like, that's something that, you deal with day in and day out and people treat you differently. And you have to kind of navigate those situations. And I think the fact that this guy seems so freaking happy and so stoked to be playing the game, and he's got so many good things going on in life. I'm like, this dude has had some hurdles. We know this just from that. And still, he's come out the other end. He can deal with nonsense. And Survivor's all about nonsense. And it seems like he's just genuinely a good guy. Physically very strong, it looks like. It seems like he'll be really good in challenges. I'm really excited for him, personally. I am. I'm really excited to see him play the game. This video is about vibes, and I get such good vibes from this guy. I cannot wait to see how he does in the game. All I got is good feelings for him. Now, to swing the pendulum the other way, as much as I love Mitch, I got nothing from David from the Siva tribe. This guy's the big hunky guy that loves chocolate milk. We remember him from the preview. Does he seem like he's okay? He's fine. That's probably true. I mean, player he kind of looks up to / would want to play like is Jonathan Young from 42. I love Jonathan Young from 42. But you know what? There's only one Jonathan Young. Just because you got muscles doesn't mean you can be Jonathan. Are you going to be calling him Jeff Probst, Mr. Jeff? You're going to be carrying the tribe single-handedly through the water in an immunity challenge? I don't know. If you can't do that, then you're no Jonathan Young. And honestly, if you can't do that, I don't know what you're going to be. It sounds like he talks about, like being an adventurer and having muscles and being in shape. He's a stunt performer, which again is another physical thing, purely physical. I'm getting no strategic geniusery from this guy. So I can't say that I'm going to really like him too much. And I don't think he'll do too well in the game. That's what I'm thinking. I don't even think he'll be that good at challenges when he gets to the individual stage, if he gets to the individual stage. But it's just what I'm feeling. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. Sometimes you're just not feeling it with these people, and I'm not feeling it until, the game starts, and maybe it proves me wrong. But this is the perfect time to swing the pendulum back to the positive, and we're going to talk about Kamilla. I love Kamilla. When I read her bio, I think everything that comes from her is just wonderful. I think it's perfect. I love the way she talks about herself. I like her mannerisms as she speaks. She's also the contestant from Canada, which, by the way, if you're keeping tally, the contestants that come from Canada are honestly outside of the US, and at least in the new era, yeah, they kick everyone's asses in the game. So right off the bat, she has the Canadian advantage. The maple alarm has been sounded, people. Fortunately, I think she actually has a really good presence. I think socially, she's going to do really well in the game. Challenge-wise, I don't know. She's really tiny. So who knows? Tiny people can do well sometimes. Maybe that would be the case. I think she'll definitely make it out of the pre-merge. I think there's a lot of potential here. Her answers are awesome. I think like some of her stuff, she's like, well, I'm really smart, but sometimes you don't know because I have shit language. And I'm like, wow, she really displayed her humor and personality, and I love that. I think there is so much potential for her to do well in the game. I am already on board. She is in that elite group that I talked about in the beginning of this video, up there with Mary Zheng. Yeah, Kamilla is number 2 in that list of 3 or 4 that I have to hype up incredibly before the season begins, and I expect awesome things for her. Yeah, unfortunately, the pendulum has to swing back the other way again with the Siva tribe. The next person to look at is Chrissy. She's, fire lieutenant, she seems like a tough, badass woman. That's the way she described herself. She seems like she's kind of the resident older woman on this season, although everyone's older on this season. It's basically geriatric island in Survivor 48. She strikes me as someone who, I personally won't be able to relate to. So I think that hurts right away because I'm not a mom or anything like that. And, she does seem like she's going to be cool. She's going to be a badass. My fear is she's not going to fit in with her tribe. But I think she'll fit in better than like David. But I don't think she'll fit in general as a whole that she's going to do pretty well. Like maybe she would make the merge. Maybe. But I think it'd be more by luck or being dragged along like a Sue Smee from 47 rather than the merit of being able to get themselves through the game. So I don't have any kind of major positive feelings toward Chrissy other than I think she's probably a lovely woman. She's awesome. And, I hope the best for her. But I don't know. I don't feel good about her. I just don't feel good about her succeeding in the game is probably the best way I could describe it. And lastly, from the Siva tribe, somebody I'm really, 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 really looking forward to. Honestly, they may be my winner pick. I'm not sure yet. I haven't made a winner pick yet, but they may be. Kyle. Kyle from the Siva tribe, he seems wonderful. I mean, just listening to it, I'm engaged. I'm a moth to a flame as I listen to him talk. He seems to be super brilliant. He seems to be strategic. He seems like he can process very quickly, which is huge on Survivor. If you can't process very quickly, it may go very poorly for you. He doesn't seem to be quirky or gimmicky in any way, although it seems like it's in him to have some, like a fun nature. It seems like he's gonna be able to do a lot of different things. Like he'll be the things that I think a lot of people think Caleb from 45 maybe should have been. I think he's going to do it even better. And I'm super looking forward to see this guy play because I think he'll probably team up with somebody like maybe Mitch on his tribe. And I don't know, maybe even like a Charity or a Chrissy, and they'll form something where I think they can potentially get something really good going and get really far in the game. Total guess, total vibes, but the vibes are immaculate coming from Kyle, and I think he's going to do really well in the game. But in sum, for the Siva tribe, I actually think Siva tribe is probably going to be the one that's going to be the most successful in the game. They have a few of the biggest heavy hitters. I mean, 2 of the 3 probably biggest people that I think I'm going to be attached to by the end of the game in Kyle and Kamilla are on this tribe. I think, yeah, they'll probably have to go to tribal council in the pre-merge. I'm kind of betting on someone like Chrissy and David being voted out. But I think like a Kyle, a Mitch, hopefully a Kamilla, that'd be wonderful if all three of them got together, will do well in post-merge and maybe get toward the end of the game. That's what I'm hoping for at the very least. I just have a lot of good feelings about Siva, and they're the ones that I think are going to be balanced, between being like a little kooky and a little chaotic. But really, the chaotic one we're going to move on to now and just get into the individual people is going to be the Lagi tribe, the purple tribe. Starting off with the Lagi tribe, we'll talk about Shauhin. Shauhin seems like a really interesting guy. I think he was kind of self-deprecating in some of his things. He's got a beautiful beard. I respect someone with a beautiful beard, and he's got a great one. He's probably hairy everywhere. Not that we need to think about that too much. He kind of came at himself for being like a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more brittle, which I think is okay. There's a little bit of self-awareness there, and I think it's important to be able to, have some self-deprecating humor. Yeah, I think it's very charming for a lot of people. It probably means he's going to be a good social player. I mean, someone like Brandon Donlin from 45, that was one of his strongest attributes. And I think if you can replicate that and your body holds up, you're on board to do really well in this game, which I think Shauhin potentially can be. I mean, he was an alternate for Survivor 46, so he's been through the process. This guy knows. He's been around, and he's finally made it. I think he's going to make the merge. I think he'll probably do fairly well. Maybe he'll get like the Andy Veruita from 47 edit, like a little bit of a strategic mastermind. Some people don't take him as seriously as others. I'm not really sure, but I think there's high potential for that kind of a situation for Shauhin. I think he's going to do pretty well in the game, and I'm super excited to see how it ultimately ends up going. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. Next on the Lagi tribe is the Jersey girl, Bianca. Looking at her video and her bios, everything about her says, Italian, talkative, Jersey girl who's really sociable. Maybe he's gonna brain is gonna be moving a little bit faster than her mouth. Sometimes her mouth a little bit faster than her brain. I've grown up around a lot of people like this. Being from Philadelphia, you get to know the type a little bit. And I think Bianca is gonna be charming. I think people are really gonna like her. She may overplay her hand, which could be an issue. I think she'll add like a lower level degree and dose of chaos in this purple tribe, which I already think is going to be chaotic. But I don't think she's going to be number one. I don't think she's going to be the main perpetrator of it. I can see her making the merge and doing well. I can see her actually going really far. And that's mainly because I think she has a lot of skills that I think are going to come out socially, just based on the little bit of info we have. And I'm rooting for it because being from this part of the country, I'm super into that. And we'll see how it shakes out. But again, with the purple tribe, I don't know. They're big etch-a-sketch to me right now, and I just don't think they're gonna mesh right. So I think they're gonna go to tribal council a good bit, and she could be out early. So I don't know. We'll see how she does. Next up is going to be Thomas. Thomas is an interesting person because as I read his bio and I look at his stuff, I think Thomas has all these skills. Just up front, I think he could possibly do really well in the game. I get great vibes from him. I think he's going to be someone that's going to be a connecting point with the people on his tribe, and he can go really, really long term. He seems like he was a record executive in the music business. It sounds like Olivia Rodrigo knows him and is really excited that he's on Survivor, which is crazy. That I actually really like Olivia Rodrigo, so that's pretty cool. So he's a mover and a shaker. He does difficult decisions. He deals with difficult people and with really awesome people. But this is really weird to say, and I never usually say this, but if I had to pick a quitter for this season, if I had to pick one that was going to say, hey, I want to go home, this isn't as fun as I thought it would be, I'm picking Thomas. And I hate to say that. Part of it is because he's on the purple tribe. Historically, on the even seasons, the purple tribe is kind of the let's throw these people together and see what happens tribe. In the odd seasons, it's usually the yellow tribe. But so I think it's going to come. I just don't know who it's going to be. And Thomas, although I think he seems to have the vibe of being able to do everything that you would want in a Survivor player and do well, I think he may also just fall flat on his face in one way or another. So, best of luck to you, Thomas, but we'll see how the game develops. I'm just not sure. Now, next, a person who I think is probably a really awesome person, but I'm not feeling them in the game because if I personally was out there, I don't think I would like them very much, and that's Star. Star in the Purple Tribe. There's what I get from everything is they boy, do they love to talk. Yep. More than maybe anyone I've seen on Survivor in a really long time. Even more than Carolyn Weiger going, oh, if you count that as talking. I think Star is still going to make more noise at a rapid rate than even her. And, aside from that, it seems like it's a very outgoing, louder personality, which I think can really go 50-50 with a lot of people. For example, like an Emily Flippin probably isn't going to be in love with that around. And I don't know if anyone in the Purple Tribe is going to be that way. Even reading the bio, like, who's your biggest inspiration? And the answer is like me. The answer is me because I'm my own inspiration. I am never on board with people who say I'm my own biggest inspiration because I don't know. It feels like, no self-awareness. Hold the mirror up to yourself. And that's why I don't get a good vibe from Star. I think Star is someone who probably won't do very well in the game. I think Purple's going to be chaotic and they're going to be looking for someone to get rid of. And I think Star is going to be the kind of person that's going to give them lots of reasons to do that. Now, obviously, advantages and idols and stuff are going to come into play. I just don't have good futures for Star, but we'll see. And if Star ends up beating my expectations, good on you, Star. Now, conversely, someone I am super confident has a great handle on the game, is going to do super well. They seem to have the mental strength. They seem like they're going to be able to socially be able to maneuver around people and relationships really well, is Joe. Joe was another fire guy, just kind of like Chrissy. He seems like he's been around a lot of difficult and dangerous situations. He has his motivation set completely straight on what he's doing and why he's doing it in this game. I just have a feeling of like a sort of like a Dominic Abate in this game. I don't know if he's going to be as loud or as sneaky as Dominic. I don't see it that way. But like if I had to guess who the idol finder is going to be on this tribe, I'm going to pick it's going to be him. And I think possibly he's going to end up running the Loggy tribe. I think it'll be him versus someone pitting off against one another for control. But I think ultimately he's going to have that control. I just feel good about him. Really, just everything. It just feels like if there's such thing as like there's a professional Survivor player, he feels like he would be one. It gets to a point where there's people who they just run it like a professional right away from the beginning. And I just get the vibe that he will. And I think good things are in store for him. And then finally, we have Eva, the young, gorgeous PhD candidate that is also an ice hockey player, plays for the club team, which might as well be an intramural team, but still pretty badass that she's the captain of a men's club team. She seems like she's, in amazing shape. She's really smart. She's had hurdles in her life of being diagnosed with autism, which creates a different kind of situation, how you relate to people sometimes. And it sounds like she commented on that a little bit, and she's very hyper aware of how that could affect her, in her regular everyday life, but also in the game of Survivor. Eva is a young woman who is still trying to figure out, exactly her place in the world, society, her goals and ambitions, all that stuff, because she is one of the youngest people on this cast. Because once again, this is an old cast. The average age is like 34.8 years old, something like that. This is top 10 of the oldest cast in the history of the game. And that's including all the returner seasons. So Eva, being one of the youngest in an old cast, could be a positive in her direction or could be a huge negative. I'm not sure. Again, this is the Chaos Tribe. This is the Purple Tribe. I don't know how it's going to go with these folks. I have a feeling it'll probably go more bad than good, but I do think she'll make the merge, and I think she'll thrive in whatever way that means. But ultimately, she seems like a cool lady, and I hope, all the best, because I played hockey for a long time, so I want hockey players to do well always. But overall, I think the Loggy tribe is probably going to be the chaotic one. I think it's going to be up to people like, Joe and Eva, maybe to balance it out a little bit. I think there'll be probably a little bit of a battle between some of these people. I could see Shauhin being a total pot stir in this whole equation, being a little weasel a little bit. Which I'm excited for. I want the Purple Tribe to be chaotic. They usually are. I think Orange is going to be the steady steed, and I think the Green Tribe is going to be kind of the lame pony. That's how I see these tribes roughly laying out for Survivor 48, but you never know. You really never know how it's going to shape up. I mean, that's just loosely the energy that's been given. I think they gave the best people to the Orange. They gave kind of the kookiest to the Purple, and they gave even keel, for the most part, to the Green. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that I love Mary Zheng from the Vula tribe. And I love Mitch, Kyle, and also Kamilla from the Siva tribe. And also from the Loggy tribe. I mean, there's a bunch of people that I think I may end up loving. Joe right now is probably my pick. I could see Eva being a good one as well. But the problem is there's a lot of uncertainty with that tribe. So I'm really excited. I'll make more videos about who I think maybe is going to win the game, what kind of scenarios I think can working out, maybe who's the home run hitter and who's possibly going to be a total dud. I don't know. There's a lot of content that's going to be made for 48, and it's going to be exciting. And I should be going to the Survivor 48 premiere in New York, which would be really fun. So if anyone's going there, great, give me a heads up and maybe we'll do fun little interviews together for the channel. But that's it for my picks on this season and the vibe I'm getting. What have you picked up from the castaways through their bios and also their little intro videos? Let me know down below in the comment section and I would love to chat. Otherwise, hope you have an amazing day, everybody. You take care and goodbye.